that's happening today in America. And by the way, if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, coming up this Saturday, February 11th, you can catch me live. I'm giving a speech at the Self-Reliance Expo. Just check that out at selfrelianceexpo.com. It's a keynote speech about survival nutrition. And yes, I will be there in person. And I want to invite all the Texas CHL holders to come and bring your firearms legally, of course, just in case something goes crazy there. I appreciate your protection. Need your protection to get out in public and give these speeches, because you never know what kind of crazies are being set up out there to go after those of us who spread the word about truth, freedom, and liberty. Anyway, catch me there at Self-Reliance Expo this Saturday, February 11th. Now let's check out this TSA animation video that I hinted at earlier. I think you'll find it very funny, and maybe not enlightening, but definitely hilarious. Let's check it out.
Help wanted. The TSA needs your help to protect America's national security. As a lightly trained TSA officer, you'll get a plastic badge. Oh yeah, you rock. But that's not all. No education needed. No IQ too low. Not even yours. And as a federal TSA officer, you get to harass everyone around you, just like you did in high school. Yo, check this out. You also get to feel some genitals. No, not your own. Other people's genitals. Plus, you're fully authorized by Janet Napolitano. Undress innocent travelers when there are no security cameras and no limits to your awesome power. Your work environment is always comfortably warm thanks to the ionizing radiation being constantly emitted by X-ray machines and naked body scanners. But don't worry, even if you do get cancer, we've got government health care for you, for all the psychiatric drugs that turn you into a complete psychopathic criminal. That's even more awesomer. Hey, power-tripping pervs, do you enjoy undressing little boys and girls like a Penn State football coach? Do you like to detain U.S. senators? Do you appreciate portable electronics that slide easily into your pocket? Have you ever wanted to see what's really hiding in Grandma's diapers? Well, now's your chance, pervert scum. Join the TSA and we'll give you a badge, a uniform, and an ego trip the size of the federal budget deficit. Plus, you'll get a paycheck denominated in fiat currency Federal Reserve notes. Oh yeah. In the TSA, you'll be working alongside 65,000 other fine men and women and perverts who represent the security elite, the last line of desperate defense against terrorists that are hiding everywhere. We think they might even be hiding in your underwear. So turn off the Xbox and put down those glazed donuts and stop masturbating to internet porn. Experience real-life porn with the naked body scanners only at the TSA. That's right. Get out of your parents' basement and join the elite. Your country needs your help to destroy the Bill of Rights and secure our freedom, one scrotum at a time. Apply now, you pathetic loser, at TSA.gov.
Greetings, fellow Info Warriors. Alex Jones here, announcing the first of many trips that I'm going to take across this wonderful United States that we live in. And we get so busy here at INFOWARS.com, the nightly news, the daily radio show, the documentary films, and all the other things we're doing that I tend to never go out and give speeches anymore. And I've got a lot of ideas bubbling around in my head about the history of the New World Order, what makes them tick and how to defeat them. So I'm titling this key speech I'm going to give. It'll run around 2 hours long, Blueprint to Defeat the New World Order. And we're also going to have a surprise premiere of a short documentary film we've been working on at the event. First off, I'm going to be going to Dallas, Texas, Sunday, February 19th, 2012, to the historic Lakewood Theater. And the next Sunday, February 26th, I'm going to be in Orlando, Florida, You can find out more about the events and buy tickets at INFOWARS.com/events. Now, unfortunately, every event I've ever had, we've had to turn people away. So get your tickets early at INFOWARS.com/events. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on in this world. And the craziest of all is this explosive awakening. I can't wait to meet you and shake your hand. I'll see you in Dallas and I'll see you in Orlando. INFOWARS.com/events.
And coming up next on InfoWars Nightly News, an interview with Kurt Linderman, Sr. He's the father of a vaccine-injured child. He became an activist 6 years ago to help spread the word about the truth of how vaccines are harming, maiming, and sometimes even killing innocent children. He's here to talk with us today to help spread the word. His website is viralsepidemic.com, and he joins us by video Skype. Kurt, thank you for joining us today on InfoWars Nightly News.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
What is the most important element of your message that you think people need to start off with understanding? I mean, what possibly, how did you get into this position? What is motivating you today?
Well, vaccine injured child, that's how I got into actually into being an advocate, an opponent of vaccines. I think the biggest issue right now that all of us are dealing with is the science is still not in. And if those proponents of vaccines really want to say the science is in, then I would say the science is balanced in our favor.
Yeah, it's very interesting that you point that out, because when anyone starts to really look at the science, the so-called safety and efficacy studies of vaccines, they find that vaccines really aren't safe. In fact, it is the abandonment of science that leads these doctors to say it's safe, because the evidence doesn't really support that belief.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt about that. I mean, you see some of these blogs calling us the anti-vaccine pseudoscience whack jobs and everything. It's the furthest thing from the truth. We're the ones looking at the science. We see the science, and I mean, it's just blatantly out there, but yet it seems like whenever one of us starts talking about it, we all of a sudden become the conspiracy theorists and the weirdos, and the science is right there in front of us for all of us to read. Most of us are just either too lazy or too dumbed down to really want to take the time to look at the science. We'd rather just look at the white coat and say, I trust them.
Well, I would characterize you as a compassionate parent. I mean, that's, every parent's job is to observe their child and try to discover what is helping them or what is harming them. Can you describe what you observed when your child went from being, let's say, normal, healthy child to being vaccine injured?
Well, we took our son in for when he was 20 months old to get caught up on some vaccines because he'd had some ear infections, and the doctor didn't want to vaccinate while he was ill. And he got 6 vaccines, a total of 6 shots, a total of 9 vaccines with the combinations in one day, and immediately took a turn for the worse. It was absolutely within a couple of hours.
What exactly, if you don't mind me asking, I'm trying to be sensitive. I know this is a difficult chapter in your family's history, but can you describe for the benefit of the viewers exactly what you observed in those hours?
Well, fever, and then the damage to the gut, which portrayed itself as 4.5 years of diarrhea, explosive diarrhea, loss of all of his language. You could just see that the little guy was in incredible pain all the time. The typical signs that tens of thousands of parents talk about on a daily basis. What's going on with vaccine-injured children? Just really, you could just tell that he was in a lot of pain, loss of muscle tone, pale. The boy couldn't get a tan if he was out in the sun for 6 hours, which has a lot to do with the yeast that was built up in his gut, because his gut was destroyed. All the good gut flora was destroyed. So
right.
Just the typical signs.
Now, at that time, Kurt, and by the way, I want to remind our viewers that you have articles posted on INFOWARS.com, a lot of good information there where people can learn more. But at the time that this first happened, Kurt, did you have any awareness at all that vaccines could be dangerous or even deadly to a child?
No, in fact, that's the primary impetus to what I do today. We were the quintessential dumbed down mom and dad that took our son in and said, if the doctor says that he needs him, we're going to do it. So my main impetus now is to make sure that the information gets out there. Parents can educate themselves, do what they want to do. But if I'd have just had one person say, hey, do you know there's mercury in those vaccines? Do you know that a lot of people are saying that their children are getting really sick? I would have looked into it. And even back in 2001, 2002, there was enough information on the internet where had I been directed, led in that direction, I don't think I would have vaccinated my son. So every single person I talk to, they could take it for what it is. They can educate themselves. I just plant that seed. We don't need any more members in this group. 1 in 67 children have autism, and not to mention all of the other ailments out there caused by the vaccines. We just plant the seed and then let the parents make their own decision.
Do you find it oddly sad, Kurt, that the CDC creates these hoax pandemics, bird flu, swine flu, and they market these as deadly diseases, and they pretend that they're killing millions of people? Meanwhile, the real epidemic, the real pandemic, is the vaccine-caused adverse events, the vaccine harm. And that pandemic goes completely unacknowledged by the CDC and by most conventional doctors. I mean, being in your shoes right now, what goes through your mind when you think about how much they've twisted this around?
Well, I wouldn't call it funny or weird. I'd call it diabolical.
Absolutely.
Diabolical and intentional. There's no doubt about it. I honestly believe it's all, money and population control. By the CDC's own standards, when you look at the MMWR, Morbidity Mortality Weekly Report, a year before the measles vaccine came on the market, measles had been eradicated by 98%. But you'll still see Sebelius, you'll still see Margaret Hamburg, you'll still see the doctors out there like, all of the doctors really that are proponents of vaccines talk about how the vaccine, just eradicated